Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Celtic Park and what a resplendent stadium it is as well. Magnificent occasion for Norwich City this afternoon. They of course begin. I think it's their penultimate pre-season friendly today against Celtic here in Glasgow before they obviously head to Easter Road tomorrow to face Hibernian in this sort of Scotland double header that they're on at the moment, which will close off their pre-season campaign before we all head off to Cardiff next week. We've got about a minute to go. I mean, we have got the Norwich team in front of us, so I'll run through it for you now. We'll go a little bit early. They've got Tim Krul in goal, Aarons, Omar Amadeli, Hanley and McCallum at the back four, McLean, Sinani and Campbell the midfield three, with Rashita, Sargent and Timu Pukki a subbench. It's quite a hefty subbench, so by the time I've read it through, we'll have got to the team news being publicly available anyway. Angus Gunn, Michael McGovern, Jordan Hugill, Abu Kamara, Adavida, John Tompkinson, Jacob Sorensen, Liam Gibbs, Onel Hernandez, Regan Riley, Jonathan Rowe, Brad Hills, Demetrius Giannoulis and Lewis Shipley. So that's the Norwich team here. Let's bring in Paddy, who's sat just to my left. Paddy, first and foremost, before we kind of delve into the team news, as a stage for Norwich City's penultimate pre-season friendly, this is about as good as it gets. What a stadium.
Yeah, as I'm sat, in fact, Connor, yeah.
There we go.
We probably should have just done on a one camera, but I'm actually trying to mute so when you're talking, we don't hear you reverbing and you likewise. So, but yeah, no, it's a tremendous place to play your football. I think we've been led to believe, although it's reported as a sellout, it may well be in the region of about 30,000. But hey ho, 30,000 for a pre-season friendly, we'll take that all day long. And it was interesting. We were in early enough when the Norwich players first arrived, and I won't give away any secrets, but there was a few camera phones coming out from those Norwich players and personnel. So, if it impresses seasoned professionals and coaching staff, then I think club put out, didn't they, 700 or so Norwich fans have made the trip, and they're going to see an unbelievable spectacle in terms of the environment to play football. And bringing it back round to what matters, you've read out the team news there. More than a few clues for me for Cardiff, which this day next week is the be-all and end-all. So, Cantwell notably. I think the two either side of Pukki, that looks like, barring any injuries on this tour today and tomorrow at him, so I could see Sargent and Rashid are getting the nod. Sinani's an interesting one. We know Zara's probably not going to be available. Hayden certainly won't be. Has Sinani now played his way into Dean Smith's thoughts if he goes with this sort of 4-3-3 lineup? But still feel there might be one or two experimental elements to it. So let's not run away with the idea this is the 11 who are on duty next weekend. Because obviously Byram and Gibson, we don't know their fitness status. We'll get an update from Dean after the game. But, you could see, let's say, a sizable proportion of that 11, barring any injury issues between now and Cardiff, running out this day next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I will wait for you to mute that. There we go, and then I'll read the Celtic lineup. It's a pretty strong Celtic lineup as well. Joe Hart starts in goal, no less. Jovanovic, Welsh, Carter Vickers, and Taylor. They're back four. They're playing 4-3-3. McGregor in the pivot. Hate and O'Reilly the midfield two. Jota on the right, Maida on the left. Maida on the left, Jota on the right, with Quogo up front. Their subbench: Bain, Sikhurst, Julian, Jens, Giamakis, who I believe was linked with Norwich last summer, by Aaron Moy, of course, Turnbull, who nearly became a Norwich City player a few years ago, McCarthy, Edgway, Bernabei, Forrest, and Ralston. So that's the Celtic team as well. Interesting, Pat, because obviously we're looking ahead to this as a double header. So a lot of the players that maybe are on the bench today, or we've not perhaps mentioned or aren't involved, and obviously there's the injuries as well. Gabriel Sara, we're not quite sure where he'll be next weekend, probably not fit enough to start, but Dean Smith did suggest he'd be back on Monday, so we can't fully read in that this is about as close as Norwich are going to get to the Cardiff 11, but it does feel like we're beginning to get some clues of Dean Smith's thinking, if only in formation, and Norwich have played a 4-3-3 predominantly. It was a 4-4-2 at Cambridge earlier, but that is what they've played predominantly, and it does feel like a lot of those pieces now are coming together as we look ahead to the Championship season.
Absolutely, Connor, yeah, and as I say, repeat what I said, I can see that front three all day long. I can see, even if Gibson and Byram put themselves forward in this coming training week, I could still see that. Well, Dimi Giannoulis might have something to say about it. And to be fair, I think it might still be Yanulis for Cardiff, but the other three and the keeper, that looks pretty Cardiff battle ready for me. And then, as we've felt all summer, as much of the focus, if not all of the transfer focus, has been on those midfield spots. That's probably the most intriguing element still for me, in terms of, is there anybody who can play their way in? And it's hard to see really those three starting. There's one or two others maybe you could put forward a case for playing in that middle of the park, but we all know that Sarah is the longer term option and Hayden when he's fit. So, McLean is probably your staple as it stands, certainly of the available options. And then no Lise Malou, of course, now, so that thins the field slightly. But we go with what Dean Smith said about Todd Cantwell. This is a new player for him after the Cambridge game midweek. So he starts again today. He clearly is at the forefront of Dean Smith's thoughts for his midfield options. And I think that a lot of fans, setting aside all that's been said about Todd Cantwell over these last 12, 18 months, in terms of a side that needs to have a creative element and somebody who can, create something out of nothing and be very good technically on the ball, I think they look a better side with a Todd Cantwell in there. But obviously it's up to Todd Cantwell now. He needs to be fully focused, fully committed to what's being asked of him, and so far so good, because Dean Smith, I don't think, would have been coming out and lavishing that type of praise on a player who he still harboured doubts about. So it's good that there's a sense of renewal and that maybe there has been a second chance, and so far Todd Cantwell would appear to have taken it, but he needs to continue down this path, because I get the sense under Dean Smith, if there are any lingering doubts, he doesn't really want them to resurface. So good to see Cantwell in again. Let's hope on this stage, against this level of opposition, he can catch the eye again, and then we can really look forward to Cardiff with a lot of positivity that Norwich have what it feels like they would need in midfield areas this season, because more often than not, the onus will be on Norwich to break teams down, to come up with something a bit different. And in a player like Todd Cantwell, who's fully focused and fully on board with what's being asked of him, then I think Norwich have that type of player. And going forward, one position, Rashica, there's still a lot of, in my mind anyway, water to flow under the bridge between now and the end of the transfer window, and whether he remains part of this championship journey. I still have at the back of my mind that something may materialise as quickly as it did with Lise Malou. We're now seeing Max Aarons again, subject to speculation. I think we can expect certainly plenty more in regards Aarons and regards Rashica. And if there's a decision to be made in terms of firm interest and money that talks for Norwich, then is Rashica, a player who would move on. And if that was the case, who comes into the mix then? Adam Eder still in the equation. Sinani can play further forward. So at the moment, Rashica's a part of it, but I still feel possibly come the end of the transfer window, he may have moved on, and then we'll see. But if it was to be the case and Adam Eder's in there either side of Pookie with Josh Sargent at championship level, I think that could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Josh Sargent, because he's obviously on that right-hand side today. It's probably the position where now there's a little bit of doubt over perhaps who can take that. No one's really grasped it yet. Crystal Solis has obviously gone out on loan to FC Twente, which was confirmed. When was it confirmed? Yesterday. So it does feel like Onel Hernandez in the background as well. Sinani can play out there. I suppose you could even put Cantwell out in that particular position. It still feels like Norwich maybe don't have a completely natural option for that particular area as of yet. I'll just bring this up before I come back to you on that point. Adam Harvey, who of course our colleague, not with us today, has just said hello from Milan, lads. But I don't know, Brad, would you swap this for Milan?
I did see some nice pictures of Lake Gomo from Adam on his socials, so I think I probably would. But yeah, I probably would actually. Yeah, as much as we all love football, it looked particularly nice. And what I will say, don't feel in the slightest bit sorry for us, but apparently it's about 10 degrees cooler here than back in Norfolk. So yeah, it's great to be here, but it's not all. And of course, we won't even get into the food element because that's a private in media joke. We don't need to open up that can of worms. But suffice to say, they call it paradise.
We're hungry.
Lowercase p for me. Anyway, back to you, Connor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've had some biscuits. That's about the height of what it's got so far, which are very good biscuits in fairness. Yeah, anyway, back to the football. I mean, as a weekend, Paz, you've got slightly. What have you got? You've got butterscotch crunch. I went for the golden oat crumbles, which I think is an alternative to hobnobs. Other biscuits are available. Yeah, I mean, as we look at a weekend, though, I mean, Dean Smith has said he wants to get 90 minutes into a lot of his squad. Given the young contingent on the bench, what do you think that looks like in terms of reality? Are we going to get players playing 90 minutes here today? Are we going to get some who maybe are hooked after half an hour and maybe get half an hour tomorrow and that tops up their 90 minutes? Do you see it kind of in 90 minutes across 2 games rather than 90 minutes in one hit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't see the value at this stage so close to the real action to hypothetically play Teemu Pukki for 90 minutes today. I don't think that is in his interests. Back at his own old stomping ground, it's worth pointing out as well. Not the happiest of times for him, but it was his first introduction to British football, and I've already seen a few Celtic fans in the mouth of the tunnel there wanting to pose with pictures for Teemu, so he's still well remembered. But no, yeah, going back to the fitness element, yeah, I'll be surprised if any of that starting 11 are still on the pitch at the end of the game. Given there's a game tomorrow, play Teemu for an hour, 70 today, and then give him maybe 20 run out at Easter Road. That strikes me as a better mix, for what is ultimately. Dean Smith said it all through pre-season. It's that balancing act between minutes on the pitch and the cohesiveness from the football side, but also the fitness element and protecting, crucially, your key players from getting any late injuries at this stage. Because if they were to get any niggles at all today or tomorrow, it's very unlikely that they'll be involved for when it really matters, and that's Cardiff a week today. So, yeah, less experimentation. I don't envisage mass substitutions during the game, but yeah, more of a competitive element to this, I think, today and tomorrow, obviously.
Yeah, bang on. Norwich, of course, in Edinburgh tomorrow to face the Burning 2:00 kickoff. We'll of course be at Easter Road for that one as well. We're actually staying in Edinburgh, so I managed to get the train across this morning, and it was all relatively smooth. So that's good. Hopefully we get back to Edinburgh tonight in relatively good order. But this should be good, Pat. I mean, as a test, there's always a lot of debate around where particularly the top 2 in Scotland are compared to teams in England. It's a really futile debate, really. It's a club that will be playing Champions League football next year. Norwich had a test last weekend against a team who are playing Champions League football. As tests go, this is a very decent one, and you kind of look at the trajectory of their pre-season, it does feel like this is one that probably sets the tone nicely as we head into the Championship.
Yeah, exactly. And, ultimately, you play for this club. The expectation is you win every game. I mean, not even a draw is sufficient. And okay, that might be more the competitive part of the season, but I'm pretty sure if this is their final sign-off game today, these Celtic fans in attendance, and it's filling out now, they won't want to see Celtic limp into the start of their season with a defeat. Blackburn came here a week or so ago, wasn't it? Got a draw, so in terms of the benchmarks, but I don't think pre-season's the environment for, as you said there, where are Celtic in an English pecking order, which is an endless debate that will never be proven until that either they or Rangers or both end up in the English leagues. But that's for a different podcast, probably. I mean, reality is they'll be running out here 30,000, maybe more Celtic fans. They will demand performance, and I'm sure Postecoglou will demand the performance as well. Aaron Moy, I think it's his first outing again today since he joined the club, was heavily linked to Norwich. I believe there was interest from Norwich. Him and Stuart Webber go way back to Huddersfield days. So, they're champions of Scotland. They're in the Champions League again. This is a club geared up to the highest standards, really. And I think it's a great pre-season test, really. The whole thing that comes with it, yes, okay, they probably won't face this level of opposition more often than not in the Championship. But if they can come and acquit themselves, go back to last Saturday, Marseille, the allure of Marseille and Norwich they're equal and fully deserved to win that game. And okay, keep saying it was pre-season. They were at a slightly earlier stage of their pre-season, but Norwich acquitted themselves well against the team who are in the Champions League. They do that again today. It just fuels the belief that things are coming together in a manner that we can all look forward to the championship kick-off with a degree of optimism. But with the caveat that the real action is next week, and it doesn't really matter in the final analysis what happens here today, either way. But it would be nice just to continue what feels like a bit of a momentum-building pre-season for Norwich now. If they perform well today, they perform well at Hibs, and we see more evidence of a cohesive plan with and without the ball, players putting their arms up saying, I want to be involved when the real action starts at Cardiff next week.
Yes, absolutely. And what I will do to close off is spin round. Hopefully this all goes well, and you should be able to see what is the wonder of Celtic Park. Then Norwich fans are basically in this corner as I look to my right. I don't think we're actually going to be able to see them. I can see a yellow shirt through the railings, but that is Celtic Park. That is the arena that Norwich City are stepping into today for their penultimate pre-season test, and what an arena it is as well. If you want to follow the game, you can of course go to the Pink and Plus app. We'll have live updates across the afternoon, plenty of analysis and reaction on there as well for you. You can get a free trial to follow those updates if you head over to pinken.com and click the Pink and Plus tab, which is at the top, on the top left, I believe, of our website. This should be good. Really looking forward to it. Let's see what we get from Norwich City. Obviously 1 week to go to the championship season. This feels now like we're into proper kind of endgame territory in terms of pre-season, and then we'll all head to Easter Road tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.